All right, now to Innovators, where we look at groundbreaking innovations transforming the world. Now, an emotionally rich dining experience is more likely to come from a chef who's led an emotionally rich life. Bloomberg contributor Tabitha Soren has the story of Chef Grant Achatz. Now, Achatz?
Achatz.
I can only practice that all day. He's something.
He made his mark on the world of food through Chicago restaurant Alinea, a place where pheasant is served with burning oak leaves and olive oil comes in lollipops. Having battled a terrifying illness, Achatz has a new approach to life and 2 new venues where he's ready to show it off.
Outside, it looks like an anonymous townhouse, but inside, 20 chefs are preparing a 17-course menu. This is Alinea, one of the top restaurants in the world, and a testing ground where Chef Grant Achatz is reinventing how we eat and drink.
We want diners to feel. Maybe we want them to be surprised. Maybe we want them to laugh.
It's high-tech cuisine, where nothing is as it first appears. These balls of white chocolate will be suspended in a cocktail.
The ball hits your mouth, and suddenly the ball just disappears. It just kind of shatters all at once. And you have this sweet rush of apple juice that comes out, sweet and tart, and you're like, whoo!
Nick Kokonas is Achatz's business partner.
I never intended to work in the restaurant industry until I met Grant.
Kokonas was a successful trader and a regular at Trio, where Achatz was executive chef.
And it's like meeting a great musician or a great artist when they're in their sort of formative, creative period.
He told Achatz he'd help him open a restaurant of his own, but first they'd need to be friends.
And my immediate reaction was, I'm not friends with any of my coworkers. None, zero. I don't believe in it. At the time, I thought this guy's absolutely off his rocker.
But Alinea was a hit, and in 2006, Gourmet magazine named it the #1 restaurant in America.
And we started making the top list in the world of restaurants, and all of the local accolades started pouring in. And then simultaneously, doctors told me I was going to die.
He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer of the tongue.
So all my taste was stripped away from the radiation and chemotherapy.
He says the staff, and particularly Nick Kokonas, carried him through.
We were all in this together, like this was ours.
3 years later, Achatz's cancer is in remission, and he and Kokonas have written a book about the experience. On tour, Achatz thanks Kokonas for writing the most difficult cancer scene.
It took somebody that was on the outside, that was watching it all take place, to actually articulate what was happening.
Energized by Achatz's recovery, they're opening a new restaurant and cocktail lounge.
Those 2 projects were born purely out of creating a lifestyle that we thought we might enjoy.
The restaurant, called Next, has 4 menus a year, each from a different time and place. First stop, Paris, 1912, then Hong Kong, 2036. And next door, they're reinventing the cocktail lounge. In October, Kokonas gave us a tour of Aviary. In February, they installed mini bars for each bar chef.
Your bottles, to your garnish, to your ice.
Cocktails are being aged in barrels.
This has a martini in it.
Or cooled in super chiller machines. And when the bar finally opened last week, cocktails received the careful attention of a meal. Ultimately, food or drink, Achatz wants the experience to transport you.
This 80-year-old woman said, this is my 80th birthday today, and this was the best meal I've ever had in my life. And she was like shaking, and it was like a powerful moment, you know? It was really awesome. At that point, I'm just like, I'm done. That's perfect. That's the home run.
Grant Achatz has had both the best and worst things happen to him as a chef. If your life has always revolved around food, I can't think of anything more terrible than to lose your sense of taste.
Yeah, well, what's his taste? What are his taste buds like right now?
He says that they're back 100%, and he says that he's an even better chef now because he understands more fully how flavors synergize. During his recovery, his taste buds, salty, sweet, and bitter, each came back one at a time, and sweet, you'll be happy to know, came back first.
Well, I'll make sure I get there for dessert. Can I get in next? How tough is it to get a reservation there?
You can get in, you just have to plan ahead. You simply buy a ticket online. They've come up with this new business model that eliminates the restaurant difficulties of cancellations and no-shows and extra guests.